All right, everyone, just a quick one. If you've been listening to the pod recently, you know that I've been balls deep in my boxing training and my body is starting to feel absolutely cooked. So to keep myself moving and not feel like I've been hit by a truck every day, I've started using anabolic supplements. They're just proper, no BS supplements, and Nutrition Warehouse has their Anabolics weekend coming up where you can save 30% on anabolics products, and if you spend over $50, you get a free can of Freaked Energy drink. You can get early online access from Thursday the 19th of February, or if you're more of an in-store or online guy, Friday the 20th to Sunday the 22nd, that's where you'll find your savings. If you're training, lifting, boxing, or just want to feel a little bit less broken like myself, now's the time to jump on board with anabolic supplements and Nutrition Warehouse. I appreciate you all. Let's get back to the pod.
It's the Can't Get Any Worse podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. How are we all today? I hope we're all well, and welcome to our UFC 325 breakdown happening here in the lovely country of Australia. We're on home turf for this one. So usually how we kick these bad boys off is we do a bit of like news and gossip and shit like that. And look, for the first time in as long as I can remember, and to be honest, I should have done some research. It could have been the first time ever. We've got two back-to-back numbered cards, which is, it's crazy, you know what I mean? Like usually you're privy to the one numbered card a month and that's enough to get you through. And the UFC's gone, what better way to kick off the Paramount Plus deal than to load these motherfuckers up with two numbered cards back-to-back. So the day that I'm recording this, I should preface this as well. The day that I'm recording this is Sunday, the 25th of January. So today is actually the Paddy Gaethje fight, okay? So I am recording this and then I'm going straight to my couch for the rest of the day to watch some absolute violence occur on my television screen. But anything I do talk about in this breakdown is obviously as per time of recording this podcast. So any odds, obviously the cards, if there's an injury or someone drops out or something, then maybe if you're listening to this on like the Friday or the Saturday before the fight, something might have changed and you might go, this fucking idiot doesn't know what's going on. So that's where we're at. And because we only did a UFC breakdown last week, we don't have a lot of news and gossip to talk about, okay? Which means this whole breakdown is basically just going to be about UFC 325. And it's probably not even going to go for that long, to be honest, but let's rip right in. So, as I mentioned, UFC returns to Sydney with the main event of Volkanovski versus Lopes 2, which is, look, I didn't even know this. It's pretty huge for Australia. Obviously, we get our UFC cards and things like that, and I suppose I've just been looking at them as the UFC's coming to Australia. It's a big deal. Let's fucking go. And I saw a little statistic this week that this is actually the first numbered card back in Australia since UFC 312, which was Dricus versus Strickland for the title. And yeah, I don't know. That blew my mind. I don't know if that blows your guys' mind, but yeah, it's good to have a numbered card back in Australia, like a big event. And there's no bigger fucking Aussie name to put as a headliner than Volk. Now, they have the UFC's been copping a lot of flack for this card, for this title fight. Obviously, there is a lot of other people that could have taken this title shot, and for whatever reason, the UFC decided to give Lopes the rematch. Now, were there moments in the first fight where you were like, "Oh, Lopes might get this"? 100%. I think he knocked down Volk at one point, and yeah, I see this as like a safe and marketable fight for the UFC. Now, Lopes has obviously got a bit of star power behind his name now these days. So, in theory, it's two big names headlining the card. But for us degenerate fight fans, the fight that I would have loved to have seen on this card would have been Volk versus Murphy. Like, Murphy is undefeated. He's just the young, up-and-coming English lion. You would have had English fighter versus Australian fighter, that rivalry, it's always there. It would have been an unreal fight, and especially it would have been something fresh for the division. So I understand where all the flack's coming from. I understand all the Reddit fans and shit like that, all the keyboard warriors going, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, I'm just excited to see Volk back in the octagon, and what I'm most excited about is that I'm going to be there in person watching this shit go down. I am so stoked. But let's crack our delicious Celsius before we keep ripping in. Oh, is there a better crack in the game, ladies and gentlemen? Let me have a sip. We're back on the classic today, mango lemonade. You just can't beat it, guys. It is refreshing on a warm summer day. And my Lord, it is hot as fuck here today. But the early prelims on this card in particular, they are, I don't know. I don't know if you want to call them special or whatever, but I like how the UFC does this, okay? Now, something about the early prelims, they're always your up-and-coming fighters. I like to watch it just because it's where you start to get to know the fighters. You might see some crazy knockouts because obviously all these young kids want to impress fucking Dana in the UFC. And it's like usually where I find my favorite fighters. Like you guys know, I'm all over Atiba Gautier's nuts at the moment. I've watched his fights when he was in the early prelims, and then I just ride it all the way to the bank when he makes his title shot, and I can play snippets from the early days, and I was like, oh, I fucking love this guy back in the day. But anyway, what I'm trying to get to is this card in particular, the UFC, they do this thing called the Road to the UFC, and the early prelims on this fight card basically are all the fighters that have got to a point on that road to the UFC. I don't know. I think it might be, don't quote me on this. I think it might just be like a spin-off of, like not a spin-off, I suppose, but like, you know how the UFC does the Ultimate Fighter, they do Dana White's Contender Series, and then they do this thing as well, the Road to the UFC. So all these fighters on the early prelims have got to a point where Dana's like, all right, you guys are fighting each other. Winner of each fight basically gets a UFC contract. So it is fucking huge for every single one of these young guns to go in there and just put on an absolute performance and get that UFC contract. So one thing is guaranteed about the early prelims on this card. They are all going to be back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back bangers, okay? So you don't want to miss them. Also on UFC 325, this is look, I want to say it's blown my mind, but on the other hand, I completely understand why. So ticket sales, much like we saw in Perth at the back end of last year, I would have thought this event would have sold out, regardless of the back and forth about, it should be a different main event or the card's maybe not as stacked as it should be. Still, it is a numbered card in Australia. I think Australia still holds the record for 2 of the top 5 biggest gates in UFC history. I think obviously Rousey versus Holly Holm back in the day. I think that might be up there as like 2 or 3 or something. And then what was the next one? Adesanya versus Whitaker, maybe? Again, don't fucking quote me. But anyway, it surprised me that it hasn't sold out. But as I said, on the other side of the coin, tickets are fucking crazy. I expected maybe, I don't know, like you go to a music concert or something, right? And you get more action in a UFC card. You get to see like 15 fights or something, whereas at a music concert, you've got like an hour and a half to 2 hours of entertainment. So I get all that, but still, I would expect to pay maybe $300 for a shit seat, and then when you start to move closer towards the octagon, maybe like 800. I'm talking at least double to triple those prices to fucking go to a UFC event. It is absolutely wild. I do not understand it, but it is what it is. I don't set the prices. Uncle Dana does, and there's a reason why he's the biggest promoter in the world. He obviously knows what he's doing. So shout out to Dana for just fucking making bank on everything. And then the last thing I'll touch on before we do get into the card is we're obviously going to break this fight down in depth, but I just had it here as a talking point. Fan favorite, one of my favorites. He's going to be there at UFC 325, Dan Hooker. He needs the biggest bounce back of his career right now. Obviously, he's got the name, he's got the hype, but the last 2 years for him have been somewhat up and down, okay? Now, he's the type of guy just to go in there and put it all on the line. Win, lose, or draw, you guarantee a Dan Hooker fight is going to be an absolute fucking banger. And he's coming off a pretty bad submission loss on his last fight. And I just see this as it's technically not hometown advantage, but I feel like there's like a mutual agreement between Aussies and Kiwis that anyone from this part of the world, from the Anzac region, we just get together and ride for each other. And I feel like this is a bit of a home court advantage for Dan Hooker. I know pretty much every Australian loves him. And I just see this as one of the biggest pops of the night if Dan Hooker gets a finish in his fight. But as I said, we'll break that down a little bit more in depth when we get there. So let's kick off the breakdown. We have UFC 325 in Sydney, Australia, Kudos Bank Arena. This Sunday from when you guys are listening to this. Tripped me out then because it is currently Sunday and it is not today. But anyway, as I mentioned, all the shit I'm talking about is as of the 25th of January. So if anything changes, don't fucking sue me, okay? Let's kick it off in the flyweight division. I am actually so fucking pumped for this fight. We have Namsarai Batbaya versus Aaron Tao. So I'm fucking up his last name. If you haven't listened to UFC Breakdown before, I'm not here for my pronunciation. So Aaron Tao, he's the Kiwi fighter. They are just two absolute striking beasts, okay? They both go into the octagon. They both swing for the fences. And being in the flyweight division, I think these guys are just going to non-stop swing, basically, until the ref pulls them off each other. So poor choice of wording there from myself. I would like to apologise for that. I'm going to go the underdog in this one. I'm going my Kiwi brother, Aaron Tao. And I think he's going to go for the early knockout. As I said, these boys are just going to swing, and I think he's going to clip him, and he's just going to get that KO finish, kick off UFC 325 with a fucking bang, and land that UFC contract. Then we move up to the bantamweight division. This one's going to challenge me. It's a single name. This guy doesn't even have a fucking last name. Who is he? McLovin? Am I right? Sorry, guys, if you don't listen to my solo episodes, I like to fancy myself as a bit of a comedian as well. So I like to sprinkle that upon these UFC breakdowns. But we have, I'm just gonna sound it out phonetically, okay? I think that's going to be my safest bet. We have Solan Grangbo. It's definitely not how you pronounce it, but anyway, versus Lawrence Luai. So again, both strikers by the looks of it. I think Sangra, what could I call him from short? The Chinese fighter, I suppose. I think he's going to use his reach to his advantage. They both seem to have like slick combos and things like that. But I don't know. I think I'm going to go Luai. My Kiwi brother. If anything comes from this card, it is going to be a massive biasy. Biasy? Is that the word? I'm going to be biased towards the Australian and Kiwi fighters, okay? So I'm going Luai, probably by decision, I reckon. Then we move on to the featherweight division. Featherweight final is Sebastian Sisley versus Kichiro Nakamura. So I think Sisley, hang on, let me scroll up here on the UFC.com website. Sisley seems to have the more output of each fighter, and Nakamura seems to be the more precise one. So again, Sisley, I'm fucking his name up. Let's just say Sebastian. He's the Australian fighter, and I've got to just fucking stick to my Australian homie. Let's go Sebastian by decision. I think he's high pace. We'll just win rounds, and they'll just grind out a decision. Sorry. Then we go to lightweight final. We have Dom Ma Fan versus Sang-Wook Kim. Now, this fight is all fucked up on the UFC website. Dana, get your shit together. I'm sorry. Please let me in the gates next weekend. But Dom Ma Fan, he's a technical all-rounder, and Sang-Wook is just, he works off his rangy speed and just his head movement and things like that. Which I think due to pacing and range, I think I'm going to go Kim by decision. I don't think he's going to get the finish. I think, look, obviously you want to impress Dana. He might go for the finish, but I just don't really see that one going that way. So let's go Kim by decision. And then to cap off the early prelims, this is the only fight on the early prelims that isn't part of the road to the UFC. We've got Khan Ofli versus Yi Zha. Again, definitely not how you say either of those names. So Khan Ofli, the Australian fighter again in this. This card is absolutely stacked with Australian and Kiwi fighters, and I'm absolutely all fucking in for it. So Ofli, the Australian, he's a wrestler, and Zha just has some absolute heavy fucking hands. So it's just your traditional grappler versus fucking striker. Who's going to win? Most of the time, I would like to go grappler, okay? And again, I'd like to go my Australian homie. But this dude, I watched a couple of his highlights. Zha's hands, as I said, are heavy as fuck. And I just unfortunately think he's going to get the finish. I think he's going to get the KO finish and just rock our Australian boy, Khan Ofli. So I would like to apologise for that. And if you'd ever like to come on the podcast, my invitation is there. Anyway, let's move up to the prelims. These are the prelims. Look, I don't want to say I'm more excited for the prelims than the main card. No, that's an incorrect statement because this main card I am so fucking hyped for. I will not be taking one single toilet break this entire main card, and you guys know how much I piss. But the prelims are fucking stacked. So we kick it off. We've got Jonathan McAuliffe, the Australian fighter, versus Oban Elliott. So Elliott is just your usual pressure fighter. He puts it on. But Jonathan McAuliffe, he's got crisp counters and he just likes to get in the pocket and just get those fucking little sneaky shots in. So I'm going to go the Australian. I'm going to go Jonathan McAuliffe by decision. I just think his tempo control and his accuracy is just going to grind it out. Elliott he's scary. Nah, fuck it. I'm not going to flip on it. Let's go Jonathan McAuliffe. Then we go to the middleweight division. We have Jacob Malkoon versus Therese Finney. So Jacob Malkoon, I like this dude. I've watched his entire career from when he was on the early prelims. And I just want to preface this. I do like the dude. But holy shit, this dude that he's going up against is an absolute fucking beast. Look at the body on this guy. It is intimidating, okay? It is intimidating to look at that. And he's only in the middleweight division. The dude looks like a fucking heavyweight. He looks like he can hit like a truck. So, unfortunately, I'm going to go Finney by KO. I think he is just going to get that big fucking hit in and just clip him. And it's going to be a sad day for the Aussies, okay? It is going to be a sad, sad day. And I just want you to know it hurts me to make that pick. Then we move on. In the middleweight division again, we've got Cam Rouston versus Cody Brundage. So, Cody Brundage, I'm actually a huge fan of, okay? Until he comes up to one of my Australian boys in Cam Rouston, and I've got to go, hey, Cody, I'm really sorry, brother, but I can't pick you on this fight, okay? I've got to ride and die with my Australian. So Rouston is the grappler, and Brundage, he's a bit of an all-rounder, to be honest. You see him doing a bit of everything. To me, this fight is an absolute flip of a coin, and that's why I've got to stick to Cam Rouston. I'm going to go Rouston by decision. I think he's just going to get the cleaner transitions in the fight. I think he's going to take it to the ground, and he's just going to control the fight from there. Then we move on. Oh, my God. What a way to cap off the prelims, okay? I'm talking Logan City, baby, okay? We all know I'm a Logan boy, and the Taffa brothers are also from Logan. Justin Taffa used to scream Logan City, baby, every time he'd get a knockout. And now his baby brother is trying to make a name for himself in the UFC. He's, let's just say who the fight is first. Junior Taffa versus Billy Alicana. Let's go that. Absolute two beasts. Two blokes with absolute rocks as hands. Both just swinging for the fences. Both got knockout power. And just both, like, this is like I said, no better way to cap off the prelims. So Junior Tafa, he's had a rough trot in the UFC. I'm not going to lie. He's obviously racked up a couple of wins. He's built that hype with the Tafa name, and he's also suffered a couple of losses, which has been absolutely heartbreaking. He is back now. He's seeking redemption, and I'm going our Logan City boy, Junior Tafa, by KO. I think he is. I think he's just going to go in there and get that early knockout. But it pains me to say this. It absolutely pains me. The Tafas, and again, don't fucking come at me because I want to get both these guys on the podcast at some point. Cardio isn't really their advantage. You look at Elikana, and he is shredded for that light heavyweight division. I think if it goes past 1.5 to 2 rounds, I think Elikana might just fucking use his gas tank and grind out the finish. But on the flip of that, I will say on record, the Tafa brothers are over in Thailand at the moment, I believe. Justin Tafa, my hat is off to you, sir. Your body, why were you not doing this when you were fucking in the UFC, brother? He is absolutely shredded at the moment. You used to watch Justin Tafa. He'd have the big jiggly belly and things like that. The belly's gone. Justin, send your boy some tips. I'm keen. But yes, Junior Tafa is the one we're talking about right now. Let's go him by knockout to cap off the prelims. So we're on to the main card now. I'm going to have a sip of my delicious Celsius before we rip in. Oh. So originally, we had Jimmy Crute here. And I forget if it was him or his opponent are out with an injury now. So the UFC was scrambling. They go, hey, who can we get to kick off this main card? Who are one of our biggest Australian up-and-coming superstars? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the guy that absolutely blew 2025 out of the water with some absolutely nuclear finishes, okay? I'm talking about our Western Australian boy, Killian Salkeed, and he is fighting another Australian beast in Jamie Malarkey. Now, Jamie Malarkey, again, this is another fight that's been copping a lot of flack on the internet. Everyone's like, well, this fight doesn't make sense. Why pair the two Australians up against each other? Don't you want to like boost the Australians? So just give them both an American fighter or something else, you know? But the UFC sees sense in this for whatever reason, and they made a couple of calls. An Australian vet, Jamie Malarkey, goes, yeah, I'll fucking be there on short notice, okay? So, look, do I enjoy seeing Australian on Australian violence? In the back of my head, yes, I do, okay? Two Aussies swinging for the fences in their home country, giving the fans what they want. Yes, at the end of the day. But do I agree with the internet? Would I love to have seen these guys up against two other fighters from different countries to boost both their star levels? Yes, obviously. Now, my pick, I've got to go with it, guys. Killian, as I said, blew us out of the water last year. He got a highlight finish head kick against Nasrat. Nasrat, I fuck up his last name. You guys know who I'm talking about. And he got another, I think it might have been, was it a submission last year? Again, don't fucking quote me. But I'm going Salkeed by finish again. I think his momentum, I think his finishing instincts, and I think his recent form from 2025. This fight is going to absolutely kick him into superstardom this year. He's what is his record? Let me click on that real quick. Wrong fucking button, dickhead. Nah, I've lost it. I've lost it, guys. Unless this works. Nah, that's not going to work. All right. We're going Killian, guys. He's going to get the win. It's going to pain me to see another Australian go get knocked out, but it is what it is. We can only ride Salkeed into the future. All right. These next 4 fights, my God, UFC, take my fucking money. This is some, in my head anyway, this is some top tier matchmaking. I love every single one of these fights. And first of all, we're going to kick off in the heavyweight division. Look, I've said time and time again, the heavyweight division has been lacking the last few years, but it is still, to this day, my favorite division in the UFC. There is nothing better than watching two giant men fucking swing at each other. Now, Am I going to call him a friend? Am I going to say friend of the podcast? Yes, I fucking am, okay? Tai Tuivasa. I met him a few months ago, took a photo, kicked it off like anything. Brother, I reckon if I take my podcast equipment down to Sydney and I go, hey, Ty, I'm in town. I got my equipment in my hotel room. You want to come record a pod? I reckon the homie will come sit down. So I don't know. Should I try my luck? Who fucking knows? But we've got Tai Tuivasa versus Talison Teixeira. I always fuck that last name up. It's a Brazilian last name, Teixeira. Teixeira, yes, that's fucking it. Okay, I got it. Now, Tuivasa, he is an absolute crowd favorite. He comes out to every early 2000s chick song in history. He's had fucking Barbie Girl. He's had Milkshake, I think. What else has he had? 1,000 Miles. He's had that. He's there for the crowd. If anything, he's a crowd pleaser, okay? And he is one of my favorite fighters of all time. But Teixeira, he is, I believe, he's 6'9", absolute giant. He's going to tower over Tai Tuivasa. But, and again, I'll say this. Teixeira had a knockout over Junior Tafa that we were talking about before in Australia. So this dude, he's not afraid to come to Australia and put on an absolute clinic against our boys, okay? That scares the fuck out of me, if I'm being honest. But Tai Tuivasa, he needs a win more than anything, okay? He is potentially one of the last hopes that the UFC has in the heavyweight division of superstardom. Obviously, he's had his shot at the title against Cyril Gane. He unfortunately came up short, and I think we need him to get back up to that title shot. Now, Tuivasa, much like I said about Justin Tafa earlier, he has put in a lot of fucking effort in this fight camp. You go and look at his Instagram, he's looking the fittest we've ever seen him, okay? He's lost some of that belly. He's looking like a heavyweight fighter at the moment, which is sick. I hope, and like when I met him, we had a bit of back and forth, and he just seemed so switched on and ready for this fight. And I think he's going to go in there. I think the height is going to be his main issue, just trying to get his fists on a fucking 6'9" guy. But I believe he can do it. So I'm going Tuivasa by KO. He's going in there. He's going to get another highlight knockout. And my God, is Kudos Arena. The roof is going to be gone, okay? There is going to be tears streaming from my eyes going, I fucking love you, Ty. You know what I mean? Oh, it's going to be absolute scenes. Then we move on to, look, it's between this and the next fight, okay? One of these two fights is going to be fight of the night. And at this stage, I do not know which one it's going to be. We're not going to know until the night, and whoever comes out to put on the best performance, that's when we're going to know. But let's start with the first one. Lightweight division, we've got Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy. Fiziev, just that slick stand-up style. And Rufy, he is just on a grind at the moment. He is rank climbing like a motherfucker. He wants that title shot. And both of these fighters can put on an absolute clinic. They are both on a tear. Both potentially in fucking title contention in the lightweight division. They're both making a name for themselves. I think my money is probably going to be on Fiziev. Again, they're both going to be banging, but I do not see a finish in this fight, if I'm being entirely honest. I think they are both going to just... Again, on paper, you see this fight and you want it to be an absolute back-and-forth war. They get to the fucking... No, actually, this is how I see it going. You want it to be a knockout, but I see it going back and forth, grind out a decision. That buzzer goes at the end of the third. They embrace. They're both covered in fucking each other's blood, and it's going to be an absolute war. Now, I'm going to go, I don't know if I even said my pick there, but Fiziev by decision. I think he's got the sharper striking. I think he's going to find his rhythm, and he's just going to get those points up on the board. And yeah, it's going to be an absolute clinic. Then we go on to my other contender for fight of the night. We have fan favourite again, Dan Hooker, our Kiwi brother, up against French fucking scary motherfucker, Benoit Saint Denis. So I've said it before, Benoit Saint Denis was in the French special forces. He goes into the octagon and he's like, this is fucking child's play, okay? I've been to war with motherfuckers, okay? But so has Dan Hooker. He has had some of the biggest fights in UFC history. The dude does not know how to quit, okay? And he is going to want to bounce back and get another win in the column. He's going to want to lose this fucking losing streak that he's on, and he's going to want to get back in the UFC's good books. I mean, he's always in the UFC's good books because he's the guy that they call and they go, hey, we need someone on short notice. Dan Hooker will be like, yeah, fucking let me have a sandwich and I'll fly over there kind of thing. So Saint Denis, he is riding 3 straight finishes, which absolutely frightens me, okay? Now, let's go a head bet and let's go a heart bet. Head bet, Saint Denis by KO. I think his momentum is going to ride it out. And at the end of the day, a 3-finish streak, you can't argue with that. You can't fucking lie. Finish streaks don't lie, okay? That's what it is. My heart bet, Hooker's grit, his cardio, I think it's going to see him come to life in the final couple rounds. I'm hoping Saint Denis, he's not going to gas out, but let's fucking cross our fingers, okay? And then Dan Hooker is just going to dig deep and just show what that fucking grit and determination's all about and hopefully get a finish, but probably go to a decision. So that's that one. Then we get on to our main event, guys. Featherweight title fight. We've got our boy, my favorite Aussie fighter of all time, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes 2. So Volk gets the rematch on home soil. We've spoken about it. Is this the fight to make? Who cares? But it's the fight we've got. Now, it is, what does it say? What have I written up there? That sentence doesn't even make fucking sense, you idiot. But anyway, this is, their first clash was at UFC 314. That's where Volk got the title back, I believe. Was it? I don't know. Anyway, let's go with that. And I don't know. In that first fight, like I said, Lopes knocked Volk down and it was a scary, scary time. So is he going to be working on ways to do that again? Abso-fucking-lutely. I was about to say maybe he's been working on his grappling and things like that, but Volk he's a fucking wrestler. I mean, if people like Brian Ortega and shit couldn't choke him out, again, to this day, 2 of the most impressive submission escapes that I've ever seen in UFC, Volk against Ortega, the dude was out and he just kept coming back and he got the win. I can't go past it. I think it's going to be Volk by decision, but my God, do I want to see Volk knock out Lopes in fucking Sydney, in his hometown, home field advantage. Oh God, again, I cannot describe the feeling going through my body right now. Just imagining what that fight's going to be like live. It is. I've literally got goosebumps right now thinking about it. Oh God, that's so fucking gay. But anyway, Volk by decision. That's my pick. And that leads us to our Can't Bet Any Worse multi for UFC 325, voted by you guys, the listeners. We have Volkanovski with 92% of the votes. We've got Dan Hooker with 83% of the votes. And we've got Tai Tuivasa with 71% of the votes. Guys, these odds are absolutely outrageous. 2 of those are the dogs. That gives us a combined multi of $19.32. My God. Boys, as I said, I'm going to be at UFC 325 live. If that multi comes off, my God, my shout at the bar, guys. If you're going to be there, come find me. I'll buy you a fucking beer. But that's brought us to the end of our UFC 325 breakdown, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Shows to plug this week. I have the Brisbane Comedy Cellar on Friday the 30th and potentially Wednesday the 28th. It's up in the air at the moment. They've got a new booking system. I don't even know where the fuck I'm at on there, but definitely Friday the 30th, potentially Wednesday the 28th. We're working out the kinks. I've got solo episode dropping Tuesday. I've got a guest episode dropping Thursday with Mats and Josh from Cool Dad Collective. One of the funnest chats I've had in the longest time on the podcast. Literally fucking became best friends in the matter of an hour, okay? That podcast could have gone for 3 hours, to be honest, but I had a gig to get to. So absolutely cracking guest episode. Check that out on Thursday. Other than that, guys, send submission via DM at cantgetanyworsepodcast on Instagram or shoot me an email at cantgetanyworsepod@gmail.com. Keep liking, keep sharing, keep rating, guys. I genuinely appreciate you all for coming back every week. Hope you have a ripper week. Get ready for the fights and shoot your boy a message if you're going to be at the UFC live. I'd love to catch up with a few of you guys and just put some faces to some names. I appreciate you all, and I will see you later.